Mark Watts, Elitefts.com. I'm here at Showtime Strength and Performance in Newark, Ohio with owner Nick Showman. And one of the things we talked about was how to adjust the Glute-Ham Raise bench for beginners. There's several different adjustments, and sometimes getting those beginning athletes in the best situation to get the most out of this exercise, which is crucial for injury prevention and for performance on the field and court, is one of those obstacles we want to try to maybe help you overcome. So in general, what we try to do with beginners is get them to the point when they first initially set up that they can actually, their knees actually fall through. And eventually we want to get to the point where we're gravitating toward a better setup than that. But for the most part, we start with their knees falling through and with the back post, the foot post, all the way down. What happens is their shins will be in a straight line across. Now, for most of your athletes, regardless of height, the difference in lower leg length isn't very much. So again, you can usually get where you need to in the adjustments. Now, what happens from there is once the athlete can maintain proper form and progress to the rep range you want them to, the way that you can do it as far as to progress them is obviously you can have external resistance, but you know, sometimes there's a better way to do that. So if you have an athlete that is ready to move forward, the one thing we like to do is just move that adjustment. There's two things. You can move the foot place up. Now what that does is that'll get that foot higher. It'll get that shin in a downward angle, and really what happens is the other thing with this setup too is that now you can have the athlete, if you have athletes complain about they have soreness on their thighs when they do the glute-ham raise, which we've had that before, that will alleviate some of that, because when they're in a flat position, basically their whole leg is even. The top of this pad is going to be even with the top of the bottom leg pad. So again, when it's lower, it'll be easier, but also be a little bit more force, a little more strain on that quad. So that's the next progression. So the next thing from there is to go back down with the back pad, and then Nick will demonstrate here. But now for that back pad, and then move that forward. So we'll demonstrate kind of how. And again, for Nick's leg length, he's still going to be a little bit closer. So now at least his lower thighs are wedged in there pretty well. I can still feel his knee, but he's getting pretty close. So again, the other thing that Nick talked about was controlling that eccentric, which is hugely important to get ready. And if you have beginner athletes, this is the first time, obviously you're going to be a little bit apprehensive. So we've done a couple methods. Either you can just actually hold hands with the athlete, or you can actually get your hands across, get your fists across, so if they need to push, they can push all the way. A couple things technique-wise: tuck the chin, something we got from Joe Scalero as far as making sure that they're not using that upper back to gain momentum. The other thing we like to do is at the bottom, do one more at the bottom, make sure we can get our knees locked. Push your toes, snap your head back with your chin down. That'll help with the beginning athletes. And again, from here, instead of, if they're not ready to move that adjustment forward so their knees are into the side of the pad, just move the back of it, the back end up, and that'll get them at a better position. So if Nick wants to demonstrate one more. And again, as you can see the angle of the shin. Now you can see him coming forward. And again, same thing. The biggest thing is making sure that his knees do not drop down too far at the beginning of that movement. So that's really a thing that we've seen a lot of, is again, those knees come way down, and then all they're really doing is they're really just pushing those knees up to maintain that straight leg, instead of really, and they shorten the lever arm. You want that lever arm as long as possible. That's how you're going to get the most work for each individual rep. So try those adjustments, and again, when you're in general, try to get them, start them back, move the foot plate forward in progression and the foot plate up, and to get to a point where they can make this exercise as difficult as possible before you get into external resistance.